Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As promised, this is your new review, and it is Welcome to Horrorwood, the sequel to Ice Nine Kills' acclaimed album, The Silver Scream. And it is finally slashing our eardrums with glee, and I will admit, I've listened to the 4 singles that they released before the album dropped, and they were fucking killer. But with that being said, welcome to Horrorwood. Our intro is Opening Night. It's an interesting spoken word piece, very short, reminiscent of something that might open an episode of a crime drama like Law and Order or something of that nature, which is very fitting for some of the topics we will be listening to in the coming songs. Moving on, we have an original track for number 2 out of 14, which is called Welcome to Horrorwood. And it starts off softly and lulls you into a sense of security before they kick down the door and just ramp things right up with their signature heavy sounds. And it's just a really good welcome to the carnage that is to ensue after this. And as a running theme for the album, the chorus is catchy as all fuck. Really well put together. Nice solo towards the end of the track, which just drew it all together, gave it that extra bit of, oomph. I don't know for another word I could use. Like, it just gave it that extra factor. Track 3, moving on to the movie-themed tracks now. This one is based on the film Cabin Fever. This has a cool emphasis on some of the ends of the lines. The instrumentation is phenomenal in the background, and there is a cool and quirky sound to it during this. Around the 2-minute mark, I think it is, there's like this almost orchestral choir, like angelic style female vocal that chimes in every now and then. And it just really adds an extra layer of imagination and creep factor to the song. Moving on from this, we have track number 4, which was one of the singles released from this album, Assault and Batteries, which, if you somehow missed it, is based on the movie Child's Play. This is guaranteed to kill you each time you listen to it. The chorus of "You won't ever grow up, you won't make it past 6, cause this 2-foot-tall demonic doll will make you his bitch," is very fucking catchy and is guaranteed to be stuck in your head after each listen. And as a fan of the Child's Play series, I really did enjoy the fact that they added the chant that the killer in the first film uses to transfer his soul into the body of Chucky. Really nice touch. And towards the end, they add in the "Heidi ho, bitch," which just it's great. It just adds to it. It just brings it all together. Nice little reference to the movie. Moving on from this, we have got the shower scene, which, as you probably guessed if you're a horror movie aficionado or just a film fanatic in general, is based on Psycho. I don't have a lot to say about this track. It was just, once again, a phenomenal chorus, some great vocal work from Spencer, some great instrumentation from the rest of the band, and there's some really good quotes in the from the film in the song itself. And I can't remember specifically where it's to, but I know towards the middle to end of the song, they add in the signature psycho noise from the actual shower scene itself, and this is overall just a solid track. Definitely worth a look. Moving on, we have another single off of the album. I think this was the last single they released, so the 4th one. We have Funeral Derangements. Now, for this one, we are visiting the Pet Cemetery. This track is a good reminder that sometimes dead is better. Not a fan of the film, if I'm being honest with you, but this song is really great. And again, the chorus is catchy as all hell. And like the lines of, I'll see you on the other side, but I'd kill to bring you back to life. Don't give up, don't let go, I'll make this right. I'll dig through sorrow and disgust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Don't give up, don't let go, I will make this right. Just really sit there and kind of give you that overall feel of the movie, like the sorrow that the parents would feel when their child dies, and the urge to bring them back, the like lengths that they would go to, and then you can kind of get a feel for the regret of doing it as well. Just gonna have a quick sip of my drink before we move on. The next one is the second single to be released, Rainy Day. This one is based on Resident Evil, and this is definitely more of an anthemic feel to the song. Sorry about that. Yeah, so as I was saying, definitely an anthemic feel, especially when the chorus hits and Spencer just like channels all of his energy into his vocals, like to just do these really high roaring cleans. Like, it definitely sounds like something you would hear in an arena. Like, it's a good one for that. Like, it would reach the entire audience, and it's just one hell of a track to take a bite out of. Moving on, we have the first single now. So yeah, Hip to Be Scared, featuring Jacoby Shaddix of Papa Roach. This is one of many features on the album. And this one, if you missed out, is based on American Psycho, the film about Patrick Bateman, which stars Christian Bale. The lyrics tie in really well to the film's general shenanigans, and it has a very nice music video which actually really encompasses the film in quite a short time. I also love the addition of the Huey Lewis sample and the bit where Spencer talks about Ice Nine as if he was Patrick Bateman talking about Huey Lewis like in the film. That just was a real like cherry on top of the cake for this track. I will say though, my only issue is you're featuring Jacoby Shaddix and there was very minimal vocals from him. He was in the music video, but because Spencer and Jacoby have quite a similar sonographical clean vocal range, I did struggle at times to pick out when Jacoby was singing and when Spencer was singing. But that is a nitpick. I still enjoyed the track. It was great. Swiftly moving on, we have Take Your Pick featuring Corpse Grinder. Yes, Cannibal Corpse's Corpse Grinder and Ice Nine Kills on one track. This is one I was genuinely waiting for. I was really excited to hear this. And if you're unsure, the film it's themed on is My Bloody Valentine. And the reason that I'm excited for this is I'm a big fan of My Bloody Valentine, especially the 3D remake. I know it's probably sacrilege, but I do love that. And it also is a really nice touch because I believe in an interview once, Corpse Grinder said that one of his favourite horror films is actually My Bloody Valentine. So to have him featuring on a song about one of his favourite horror movies is just really cool. And I'm a fan of Cannibal Corpse as well, so to have two bands that I really like collaborating is just awesome. And this genuinely could easily be one of my favourite tracks on there. There's so many references to lines from the film, like actions in the movie. If you've not seen it, I don't want to go too deep into this one because there were some things that could spoil bits, but yeah, it's definitely a really solid song for fans of the film. And also, Corpse Grinder's vocals really stand out on this track. Like, I wasn't sure what sort of sonographical sound they were going to go for with, Spencer and Corpse Grinder on the same track, like, because they're very different sounds, but they work really well together, and I would be open to more stuff from these two. Um, Honestly, it just fucking fits so well, and I marked out big time. Um, Moving on, we have The Box featuring Brandon Saller and Ryan Kirby. Now, Pinhead's coming for you in this hellish track, where the vocal differences between the artists work extremely well to keep the song flowing and fresh, and there is a lot of references to the movie, as I was told by two of my good friends who have seen the Hellraiser movies. I haven't yet, which I'm really disappointed at myself for not watching them, because I have heard they are phenomenal films, or at least the first one's really good. I will get around to watching it, and when I do, I might come back to that track and do a bit more of an in-depth review, since that is the only one where I've really not been able to explain a lot. Moving on, we have FLY featuring Buddy Nielsen, and this one is flying high and talking about a cult classic in The Fly, featuring Jeff Goldblum, I believe, is the main character of the film. It's possibly the softest song on the album, and I'm not gonna lie, in my opinion, it might genuinely be the weakest track. It could also be that I haven't seen all of the Fly films, so there could be a lot of references that I'm missing, and some like insider knowledge, whereas if I'd seen the movie, maybe I'd pick up on lines a bit better, but I'm not sure. Moving on, we have got Worst Vacation, which is about the deliciously gory and grisly Hostel movie. The first one, I believe. So yes, pack your bags. We are going on holiday to Hostel. It starts off with a train station call out in German before the countdown to death starts, and some of the lyrics transfer from English to German, and then some are sung in a German accent, which is kind of cool. And it just really does paint a really gruesome picture that captures the feel of the film really nicely, and it also captures the creep factor of some of the characters within the movie. And some of the lines that I could pick out that give you a good feel of the song are: I'll kill 'em all, paint the walls with their flesh and bones. And then moving on, we also have torture face, mutilate, slice and dice a heel, ditch the gag, no white flag, let me hear you squeal. Grab the drill, grab the axe, the fun has just begun. I am going old school, a gun is too American. And like I said, these are just two examples of lines that I thought really encompass the feel of the movie and a good overall tone of the track. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. And there's a skit near the end, which is a really lovely touch too, that reminds us that the characters' lives within the film genuinely don't mean shit to the people that are bidding on their lives to kill them. Moving on, we have Ex Mortis. This is just groovy. Yeah, if you don't get that reference, this is Evil Dead. And to be fair, the phrase of Ash, groovy, describes this track so well, and good God, it just encompasses the vibes of the era that this came out in. And it captures the goofy comedy horror vibes of the film franchise really well. But remember, if you're going into a cabin in the woods, just please be cautious of any weird looking books that you might see, because we do not need deadites unleashed on us. And with this being said, we move on to our final track, Farewell to Flesh. So settle in and grab some candy, man. Yeah, I fucking went there. So, This is the final song on the album, unless you have the deluxe version, which isn't out yet, I think. Because I was going to review the 2 extra songs on there, which I believe to be orchestral versions of Ex Mortis and something else. Once those get released, I will do a separate short video on those 2 songs for you. But yeah, anyway, this is definitely a song that has a massive emphasis on their lyricism. And it just starts off softly with a piano track and a soft, somber vocal from Spencer that makes you think it could genuinely be a soft track. Like, I remember listening to it and I was like, okay, we're gonna finish this off with a really, somber song. But then Spencer ramps it up into full gear, and just like the film, it's a slow burn. Like, it really does have that feel of they've taken that out of the movie, because the film starts off really slow and then picks up towards the end, and so does this track. And honestly, it's so good, and it'll just leave your ears buzzing with glee. But with that being said, that's the 14 tracks reviewed. So let's move on to my final thoughts. Like I said, I was going to review the special edition, which had 2 extra songs, but unfortunately they're not out, so I can't do them yet. If you have found it, please feel free to send me a link in the comments below or message me on somewhere. But yeah, overall, I can't say too much about this album, honestly, other than it breaks the whole phrase of sequels are never as good as the original, because this lived up to my expectations and slightly beyond. And there is part of me as well that is genuinely curious to see if we'll get a Silver Scream 3, or if they'll move on to Pastures New. I kind of hope they do a Silver Scream 3. I know people will be like, yeah, but you're beating a dead horse, you're milking it dry, but there's so many horror movies we haven't had a chance to explore yet. Like, for example, Wrong Turn. Like, we could see that. Like, there's so many other films that we haven't had a look at. My mate gave me another really good suggestion for one to put in here last night, but I've forgotten it. But even Lost Boys would make a good one, because that technically is a horror film. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Probably going to be a couple of months to a year before we even hear if they're going to be working on any new material soon. Because they'll probably be touring now that things are freeing up again. But moving on, we have standout tracks. And honestly, when I sat down to write this, I was like, do I have to choose just 4 standout tracks like I normally do? And I was like, I have to. I can't differentiate or like deviate from what I normally do. So I beat myself up over this, and I thought long and hard, and yes, I did struggle to pick out just 4. But in order, my 4 tracks I recommend you ladies and gentlemen check out if you're unsure on the album. Take Your Pick is number 1. Farewell to Flesh is number 2. Worst Vacation is number 3. And Funeral Derangements for number 4. I feel like these 4 tracks overall will encompass all sounds of the album, both heavy and soft, and if you don't like them, you're possibly not going to enjoy this album. But for me, I'm not going to fuck around with you. This album was definitely a 10 out of 10. Really great. I don't really think there's much more I could say on it. If I ever think of anything more, I will do an update to the video. I may even do a Silver Scream 1 review, which it's going to be kind of pointless, but I feel like if I've done a review to the sequel, I may as well do a review to the original. I'll have a think, see what some of my friends think about that idea, and maybe we'll get that. with that being said, that is the review done. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next. I don't know if I'm going to do a 6-song roundup or another album review. I'm going to have a think, maybe try and get some ideas together with some people, get some opinions, see what they suggest. If you've got anything you would like me to review, let me know in the comments below. I have a Discord now, which I can send people if they're interested, mainly for my Twitch, but there is also some YouTube stuff on there as well. But with that being said, thank you if you made it to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you fantastic fanatics in the next video. Goodbye.